Y'all, I was watching some babies ducks today, and it really had me thinking and seeing myself in Mother Nature. And I know that makes no sense at all, but stay with me through this episode because you're going to feel very seen and validated by human evolution if you are a mom and you're absolutely freaking exhausted to the point that you have no creative thought and you don't know what the heck is happening in the world. There's like science about all of this. And for some reason in my brain, science makes me feel validated. And when I'm in this season of feeling like I'm not as ambitious and my creative thoughts are kind of out the window and I don't really know what is going on in these like self-deprecating thoughts that I know I'm not alone in, but I will fully admit to you guys that it's just like, do I still have it in me? Can I still do these things? And so I want to talk to you about that today because I was watching these baby ducks outside. My kid was having a full-blown temper tantrum, like I didn't know what to do. So I took him outside, made him go do a lap. And outside there's these baby ducks that have been growing up in the pond behind my place. And there's 4 baby ducks and this mom. And so my son likes to watch them and it helps him calm down. So I brought him outside to look at them. And I'm watching as these baby ducks come and they start eating and they're munching away and they're doing their thing. And the mom is just scanning, like not eating, looking around, like cocked up. Like you can clearly tell which one is the mom, even though they're pretty much the same size now. It got me thinking like, damn, this is really programmed into us. It is really programmed into us that we just don't relax, and it is just human evolution. It is literally the ecosystem of a mother to be like, I will protect you. I will eat last. I will protect you. My brain is going to scan for danger. I'm going to make sure you're okay. I'm going to do these types of things. And it makes sense that, hey, I don't have a creative thought and I can't do anything because this is going on. And I kept looking further because there's a word for this. I might mess it up, but there is a word for this. It's called matrescence. And it's the same thing as adolescence. And why did no one talk about this? I was just doing the nap time content challenge and I was doing research and looking up this stuff because I'm talking about this. I'm talking about how to create content in nap windows and why it's so hard and the creative thinking and how to do things quickly and how to fit stuff into your nap windows and still keep this passion and this energy alive and how normal it is. And this word came up, matrescence. And I'm like, oh, wait, this is like a thing. This is an actual science-backed thing. I'm going to look down at my notes so I don't mess this up. But this is actually, what was her name? Coined by an anthropologist, Dana Raphael, in the 1970s. And it's now backed by neuroscience. It's described as the neurological, hormonal, and identity transformation that happens when you're a mother. It's the same thing. It's as significant as adolescence. And if you were a girl going through that time, we're crazy. And I feel like no one teaches this. I didn't know this was a thing. My mother never told me about this. And like any of the moms that I talk to or any of like the mom mentors that I have, because I have some within my church, they didn't know the term for this. We don't really talk about this. We talk about the identity gap that some of us feel and we kind of hide the other stuff. And some of us have a highlight reel and some of this stuff is going on. But when it comes to being a creative business owner, when it comes to someone that is putting themselves out there, trying to build something, trying to do something for themselves, even if you don't run a business, like you're just trying to have something that's yourself. But by the time you have time to do it, you're just completely exhausted. It makes sense. Your brain is constantly scanning for danger. Your brain, now that you had a kid, it's unconsciously doing this too. It's not like you're out there and you're like, have your binoculars on and like this whole thing is happening. It's just you're constantly scanning for danger. And this is why it was so significant when I saw these ducklings, because they obviously don't have this deep thought. It's just everything is so primal and unconscious and just a habit and something that it's born into. And you just see this duck scanning. And I'm like, that's literally what's happening in my brain at all times. All times, that's what's happening in your brain. And so when you come and you sit down, you're like, oh, I'm so tired. Like the end of the day, when anyone asks me, like, how do I do stuff like this, like the podcast or the YouTube at night, and how do I have time for the second shift, is I really incorporated some things, and you guys can go back. I think it's like 3 episodes or something where I talked about everything I do in order to set myself up for success for the second shift. But I also think it's really validating to hear, like, it's so normal. It's so normal because it's not like mother's scanning. It's not like the intrusive thought, anxious scanning that happens like when you first have your newborn. It's just this unconscious pattern that's happening subconsciously inside of your brain that is just protecting your kids. Like it is just your job, just like it was the ducks. Like it's just your job. And it's not like anxiety, nothing's wrong, like none of that. It's just you being a parent. And after you have your kid, your brain actually rewires itself. I don't know if you know this, but your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for your creative thought, for complex decision making, for connection, any of that stuff, it literally gets new brain matter or gray matter and forms different connections, and there's different blood flow that goes to it. Like there's less blood flow that goes to this main part of your brain, and it really doesn't come back, unfortunately. And so that's why when you're standing there in the kitchen and, you know, you're exhausted and it's like, okay, now I need to go sit down and work, and I need to go do something, and I need to reply to those DMs, or I need to make a story, or I need to write a piece of content. And you're like, I literally could not. I used to get this way even before I had a kid in the kitchen, now that we're talking about the kitchen, and I would sit and I'd be like, if I had a man over, I was like, I could cook them this like amazing dinner. But if it's just me, I'm eating peas. Like I don't have time. Not even I don't have time. I had plenty of time. I don't have the energy to cook anything more. I don't want to, because I didn't have the brain, like the stress response, the scanning, the survival, like things like this just happen. And we just kind of have to know this about ourselves, not using it as a permission slip, because I think this is what a lot of people do, is like, oh, I have less blood flow here, so therefore I have different gray matter, and this is happening in my brain, and now I don't have to do these things. It's like, that's not what I'm saying in this conversation. It's just understanding that this is going on. So now what are you going to do? If you know, okay, at night, I can have my second shift and I can go into flow state. What can I do throughout my day that's going to allow my nervous system to be a little bit less scanning, to be a little bit less danger seeking? How can I put things around me in order to make that safe? Like, what do you need? And that's what I covered in that podcast episode. I'll make sure to link it. I don't know the actual number of it or how many below, but it just says second shift, so you can scroll through and find it. But it's putting things in place so that you can have creative thoughts. This is why when I say nap time, it's not going, okay, in your nap window, you have to clean the house, you have to fold the laundry, and you have to come up with content. It's like the only thing you should be doing is making content that you know is going to make you sales, so that you can then relax come the evening time. Like your second shift really doesn't need to be that long. Like I usually only have 1 or 2 hours here. I've really slimmed it down since I've been implementing the nap time stuff, so that you can actually understand, okay, I'm putting things in place so that I can feel safe. And the best way of saying this is like, if you have an adolescent, granted, I have never been a mom to a teen. I don't know. I'm really fortunate I have a boy. It's my first kid. And I also don't know entirely, but I do know a lot about nervous system work, and I do know a lot about hormones, and I do know a lot about all of this stuff from all of my my 2 previous businesses around health, hormones, nervous system, and trauma. And in order to facilitate that stuff, you have to create safety. And one of the best ways of safety is routine. One of the best ways of creating and down-regulating a body in any type of way is having some type of predictability. So not everything feels so jumpy or scary or new or trying. And so I remember this feeling when I was first becoming a mom, and just terrified because everything was new, nothing was consistent, every schedule went out the window, and I couldn't predict anything. And so everything made me jumpy, everything made me scared, and I couldn't focus on anything. And that was like obviously the start of mom brain. That's the newborn era. But also anytime I notice in my life, if I'm doing something new now, it doesn't hit the same as it did when I was a kid. I don't like it now. I like to have mine and my son's schedules locked in, because it allows me to have creative thought with my business. There isn't a lot of this like adventure and spontaneity and like fun and all this stuff And I genuinely, personally, do not miss that side. I don't want it right now. I have my weekends sometimes, like when someone's with Luca, that I can go and do that stuff. But I really do like things to be a little bit more predictable in this season, knowing what's going on in my brain, knowing where my nervous system is at, knowing how my brain has shifted, knowing all of these things about myself. And I think this can benefit a lot of you, is understanding that this is just a season, and this is just, if you are looking to make money, if you are looking to be a regulated and present mom, if you are looking to just enjoy this season without feeling like you're in lack or something's behind and everything's stressful and overwhelming, it's understanding your brain a little bit more of all the things that did happen, all of the stuff that's happening behind the scenes. Like your amygdala, I don't even know the size of it, but it just blows up. And your amygdala is your stress response and your protector. So it's like your guard dog is the way that I like to describe it. It's the thing that protects you from everything. It expands beyond. And so your guard dog is just going, I am on protection. Everything is danger. And knowing that about yourself is going, okay, what can I put in place so life doesn't feel so dangerous? So things don't feel so out of hand. So not everything feels like it's just scary and everything is on the edge of collapse and all this stuff. And if you desire to have more creativity, you have to look at how can you slow down a little bit? How can you really pause and let things in? And this is where I wanted to take the episode, because I know so many of you, once you become moms, this whole thing happens, I am going to get stuck in this adolescence. Matrescence. I said it right the first time, don't judge me. But we go through this, right? All these shifts, all this stuff that's happening, going through all of these changes, hormonal changes, brain shifts, lifestyle, financial, relational, all the things that come with this season of life. Then you get used to it. And then you can't decide if, am I just starting to feel safe, or have I completely lost my ambition? And you can't decide, am I burnt out? Or like, I don't feel burnt out, but I don't have the same like anxiety towards my work anymore. I don't have the same gripping of it. And this whole identity comes into this whole thing where it's just like, what is the meaning of life? Like maybe you just spent the last however many years building a certain type of identity. And this is why we're seeing the millennial mom crisis, identity crisis taking over right now, because we've been the first wave of women that it's like, dedicate yourself to the career as though like you're a man. And like, we're going to see the whole wage gap happening, like all of the stuff happening financially with women just dominating the market in the next decade or so. And it's this whole thing happening because of what we've done. But then you have children and you're like, what is the actual definition of success? Because my biology and like my actual physiology wants to be around my kid. But also at the same time, you built a career and it's like, but my identity is, I like it. Like you don't want to get rid of it. You don't want to just be a stay-at-home mom. So are you losing your edge? Are you just safe? Are you still ambitious? Like, would you describe yourself as that? And it's this whole loop that fucking happens. And I want this conversation to lead towards what I'm finding for myself, and what I've spent a lot of time talking to my therapist about, is it's actually just safety. Because I don't know about you, but I'll talk personally. For me, is I know what burnout feels. I've been burnt out. I got very, 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 very sick my last business that I built. And I was so sick, I was told I may not be able to have children. And that set me on a whole fucking journey. And I realized in that moment what that feels like. This doesn't feel like that. This feels like I can chill and watch Netflix because it doesn't feel so overstimulating. This feels like I'm really putting a lot of barriers in place to protect my peace so that I'm better for my kid, because my biggest goal in life is to raise a regulated child. I would love for him to be happy, of course, that is a goal. But my biggest thing is I want him to be emotionally aware and regulated and to be able to handle all emotions, because it's not just happiness he's going to feel. And if he can be regulated, he's going to achieve, obviously, joy and happiness. In order for him to do that, I have to be that. My nervous system is his. Your nervous system is your kids. They're watching you handle all of the things that you're doing. Even if they're older, they're watching you handle it all. And so you sitting there and going, okay, I know this is happening in my head. Like, I know all of these things are real. I know all these hormonal changes are happening. Instead of just infusing yourself with knowledge and using it as a permission for things to unfold, what are you putting in place to protect your peace? I'm going to say that again. What are you putting in place to protect your peace? I don't think a lot of moms, at least not from my understanding, especially not the highly independent, highly ambitious, strung up ones, they add more. And it's because you're so high achieving and because being a mom doesn't yet feel like it's the reward system. Like, obviously, like it is the best thing in the entire world, but there's not like a payout. There's not like a number. There's nothing like my kids' accolades, if you're emotionally aware or not, like they're not mine. Like that is their soul's journey. That is what they're doing. And like for you to be able to sit going, okay, but what is my actual value in this? And you can't range it like you can when you get a career jump or a financial jump or whatever it is inside of your work that you range on. And it's hard to gauge. And so you're trying to do all of them, forgetting your peace and your presence are the only thing that are actually going to allow you to scale in motherhood or business. And so you have to put barriers. You have to put boundaries. You have to put routines in place. You have to look at, okay, if my brain is now constantly scanning for danger, even if my kid's not around, I now do it with other people's kids. I now do it when I'm alone. Like when I catch myself, I'm like, girl, there is no tiger. And I can always tell when I'm really at my edge and not taking care of my nervous system because I start to have insane intrusive thoughts about like someone barging in, like all of this shit that's gonna unfold, and like fear, like I can't sleep with my back towards the door, like all this stuff that would happen. And I'm like, oh, I haven't been putting barriers to entry because my brain is literally hyper alert on so many things right now. So I need to infuse more rest. And you do too. Because yes, you have goals, yes, you have ambitions, yes, you have things, but over anything, you need space. You need space to just not have to scan. And so wherever you're plugging that in, it's like the opposite of every mom advice that I hear, and it's not taking care of yourself. I'm not telling you to go to the fucking spa and do that shit. I'm literally telling you to like sit on your fucking couch and not scroll your phone. Because that's, as much as you think that's allowing you to just disengage, it's not. Our brains actually don't shut off and rest when we're on our phones. Fun fact. But the conversation deepening around this of it does not mean you're losing your ambition. It actually makes your ambition more strategic. I've never been so lit up and on fire for my work right now. I've never felt... I like cried today with my therapist and in front of my entire peer mastermind of just like feeling so aligned and at home and peace in this work right now. You guys have been with me for the last year where you've just seen me gripping and trying to figure it out and going through a lot of things behind the scenes that I have not even communicated, but you guys have seen that. You've heard that. You've probably witnessed it. You've seen the bounce arounds. You've seen all this stuff. And it's now being in this space and feeling so certain and so secure and having the creativity and having the passion and having the peace and feeling joy and like being with my son to the point that I'm just watching him and I'm crying because I'm just so in love with him and can feel that. And I'm not rushing anything or thinking like, you need to go to bed so I can go do this thing. Like, it's like pure joy. And that I would 100% contribute to everything I'm talking about here, is understanding how the actual brain shifts after becoming a mom and putting things in place to protect that. And it does not mean you're losing your edge. It means you're getting more strategic with that. That's it. The duck isn't thinking, oh my God, did I lose my edge? Because I can't go mate and get a mate and hunt and go out with the girls. It's like, my job is to protect my children. My brain now works in this way. And it's like, when we look to nature, that's so normal. Like every mom is like that in nature. And yet when we come to the human realm, there's no permission on it. There's no grace. You're expected to act in the way that you did prior to having a kid, as though your brain didn't just freaking go through an insane, you just hit puberty. Like your brain just did this whole leap. And to sit there, instead of comparing to who you used to be, saying, oh, I lost my edge, it's pausing for a second to figure out who you are now without comparison to who you used to be. It's, what is my work ethic now? The ambition is not gone. You can't just make it go away. It doesn't go away. It's either clouded by fear or clouded by fear. And so when you can overcome that fear and actually sit and go, okay, afraid of what? Because everything that you're comparing it to is no longer. It's not real. Your brain isn't the same as it once was. Your amygdala, like it's literally not the same. The gray matter, like it's just not the same. And so the expectations you have on yourself, you need to hang them up and go, okay, now how much can you actually get done now? What does that look like? And in what time period and framework that's going to make you a good mom? Some people love still working their 9-to-5 schedule or whatever it is. They love still to travel and do all these kind of things because they're in that season and it makes them a better mom. That's perfect. Some, like me, no. If my kid's awake, I'm with my kid. That's what makes me a better mom. I have zero desire to go on any trips or do any type of thing. Like I love being a mom. I'm one of those freaking freaks. And I want to be with him anytime he's awake. I want to be with him. So when he's sleeping, nap time, second shift, catch me working, because I also love that. But it's not, I don't need time away from my kid, you know? And so it's figuring out what actually makes you a good mom. What is the schedule that makes you a good mom? And putting things in place to protect this new version of you, because what used to work before, it's just not going to work anymore. Some parts of it, you take it with you, but you leave the frickin' rest. Because your brain can't stop scanning. You can't just make it stop. It is just the way it is. But you can design the protection layers around it. You can put systems in place. You can remove decisions and things that drain your nervous system. I can't even tell you, like, the insane boundaries I have on my life right now since becoming a mom, since becoming a single mom, since deciding this next launch schedule, since all of these things. It's like, it's crazy. But it needs to be that way because it's the only way it's going to happen and still keep you present with your baby. And that's what's so important. And that's literally the only thing that matters. And so the most powerful version of you is the most present version of you. And that's the one that's going to impact all the other ones, is how present can you be where you are in that moment and how can you protect that presence. And that's where you start to build from. And so if this episode gave you something real, I am going to ask you, because I always forget to ask you guys, to please go subscribe and leave a review. It means so freaking much. It means the absolute world. So thank you in advance. And then share this with a mom friend that you're like, hey, bitch, you need to hear this. You cute little chicken. You cute little duck. You need to hear this one. And yeah, start a little communication thread about this to support each other, and just your constant reminder that you did not lose your ambition. It just needs to be restructured. And if you're currently in that season, make sure you're following along over on Instagram, because I'm sharing a whole bunch of things, whether it's our upcoming program drop of present and paid, or jumping into our next nap time content challenge, or just needing some tips on how to do all this stuff over on Instagram. My Instagram is @ITS Laura Patricia Martin. I love you so freaking much. Like, you're doing an amazing job. I don't think you hear that enough, but all of the things that you're doing and juggling that people don't even see, probably your kids don't see or your partner doesn't see, like, you are doing the most insane job on the planet, and you're still keeping yourself afloat, and you're still plugging into podcasts like these. And I applaud you, and I send you so much love.